Welcome to the Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary on YouTube. This is your host, ScottyB. Joined with me this week is my very, very lovely co-host and TikTok specialist, Astrovoid Cosplay. Welcome to the show, Astra.
Hello, hello. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Well, thank you very much for once again joining in on the fun. I do have to shamelessly plug the show. Of course, you can follow us online. All of the description notes will be there for you to click on. And of course, like the video if you like the video, comment and subscribe. We always love to hear from you. And now, I'd like to talk a little bit about TikTok. And of course, Astra, how are you doing? How's it going? How is everything? We haven't.
TikTok is going well. I'm going as well as I can be.
No, that's great. I mean, yeah, I guess we haven't caught up in a while, but I did notice that, last time I think we talked to right around 10,000 followers on your TikTok, and as of right now, it seems like you're right around 60K. So a lot of growth in not a huge amount of time.
Yeah. Fun fact, I thought that was normal. I was joking with my friends, and it turns out that that's not normal, and that's it's a special thing. And I was like, okay, well, make the most of what I have, I suppose.
Yeah, and I mean, I can say here, I mean, I'm just quoting Gary Vaynerchuk as, if you're not on TikTok, I'm not on TikTok. Well, I'm kind of on TikTok. I actually have followers. I haven't posted any content, so there's that. But if you're not on TikTok and you're okay with TikTok, now's the time to jump on. And I think of that for cosplay, it's a lot of fun. And I don't know a whole lot about it, which is why I think it's a good thing to talk about. And I've searched all over the YouTube world for like things about TikTok, like how to put the videos together, how to put them online. And I don't find a ton, especially for cosplayers. I don't find like a bunch of videos that talk about like, oh, here's some things that you should know about TikTok, and putting videos on TikTok and putting things together for TikTok. So please, we'll start with something relatively simple, like why did you decide you wanted to go on TikTok?
And I think I filmed like 4 videos and posted them, and then I never did anything with it. And then recently, I technically count my start date as November 28th, because that was the day that we had actually filmed like my first MJ videos, and then they posted. And that was the day that I started consecutively posting. So that's the day that I count as my start date. But it started out as a joke, and then it kind of became, I was just like in my stuff. And I was like, hey, do you want to film me in front of your closet? And she was like, yeah. And we did, and then I posted it, and within an hour it had gotten like a couple thousand views, I think, and somebody had already duetted it. And she was like, that's insane, that's not normal. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I just kind of kept doing it, and everything just took off all at once, and I was like, wow.
Some of the terminology you mentioned, duets, and I know some of my guests have also talked about duetting. That involves you finding a video and then filming alongside of it. Is that how that works?
It's really great, especially like right now with the way that life is. We can't really see each other in person all that well, so or have cons. So the best alternative is being able to collaborate and do stuff like that. So you find a video that you like, I suppose. And for instance, the first one, I think one of the first ones I did was with Cumbermatch. I was Black Widow, he was obviously Doctor Strange.
Yes,
but
and plug for Cumbermatch. I did
yes.
add this. It's the February edition of the calendar.
Oh, nice! I wanted one of those. That's so cool.
If you haven't gotten your Cumbermatch calendar, it is pretty cool. I'll see if I can. We'll just do a quick flip to one of the other months. I think this one people will be a little bit more familiar with Cumbermatch in his Doctor Strange, of course. Yes, very reasonable and ships overseas. So anybody watching, of course, I think he still has him available.
He's incredible, yeah. And so
has quite a few followers on TikTok.
He does. He has a couple million, I believe. But yeah, he and I have been friends for a long time. Since I first started, he was one of my first supporters. And so when I went to TikTok, I was like, oh, I have to, right? So I found his video, and I was Black Widow, and it was actually at the end of the day. I was really tired. I've been filming all day. I couldn't get the filter to work right. I didn't know it because I had gloves on at the time because I was still new. But I was like, it's not working. So I just decided to make a joke out of it. And I was like, oh, Black Widow Strange trying to teach Nat magic and it's not working, right? Didn't think anything of it, posted it, went to bed. I woke up to over like, I think it has over 300,000 views now. And I was like, oh, so my idiocy ended up going well. So I was like, okay, well, this is great. But yeah, duets are a lot of fun and they're the perfect way to interact with each other and not have to be like in the same room. And it gives you just enough limitation to still give you that creative drive to be like, okay, how can I make this work and make it something that people want to see?
Yeah, so tell us about making the video. Like, what do you do to actually put everything together and then come up with like a 7 second, you know, highlight for more, or well, I guess they used to call them vines once upon a time. I think Vine was a thing for a while and then it went away. And TikTok, I don't know, it kind of, it feels a little bit like that, but not really. It's just, it's got a little bit of a Vine feel to it, but there's a little bit more going on. So like, how do you decide what you're going to do?
Definitely depends on the day. There are times where I'll plan it out late at night and wake up the next day and get ready and do it. And there are times where I'll wake up like today, this morning, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna do Scarlet Witch today. You know, like sometimes for me personally, what happens is I'll be scrolling through and I'll hear an audio in the video, and my brain will connect it to something Marvel or something cosplay related that I'm doing. I'm like, oh, that would be a funny skit to do, so I'll save it for later. Sometimes I'll forget what I'm doing, so I have to write notes down. But yeah, I tend to save a bunch of audios that I have ideas for different characters. I try to do things chunk by chunk. That way I'm saving time because I don't want to get ready and then do like one video and then waste my time. So it's easy to have everything chunked and then just go in and do what I have to do when I have to do it. It depends on the character that I'm doing that day. Sometimes it'll take me a long time to get ready. But what I've learned with TikTok is it typically tends to like blur the face a bit. So you don't have to do as much like, I guess, foundation work as you would if you were like going to a con or doing photos in person. So there's different tricks and tips that you can do to save time getting ready. And then when it actually comes down to the videos, it all depends on what you're filming. If you're doing transitions, are you doing like acting stuff? Because transitions, especially if you're going from like, you know, regular to like character stuff, you have to be able to pre-plan for that and know that, okay, I have to be ready and do that and then change. And it can be a kind of a disaster if you don't have a plan going into it.
And I think the last one that you posted as of us talking was a Starfire video. Is
I
that
believe
right?
so, yes,
So
yes.
walk us through the video. Like how did you put it together, start to finish? And then if you do have a tip or two for saving time along the way, that would be really cool to hear.
Okay, so for that one specifically, if I'm remembering correctly, it was actually kind of old from my drafts. I just kind of posted it because it was fun. But I had found the audio from somebody on there who had posted it from Injustice, the actual game. And then I just kind of like pulled it up, hit the timer. The timer is like your best friend because you can have it set for 3 seconds to start. It'll give you 3 seconds to get into position and start, or you can set it for 10 seconds. And that has been like my biggest lifesaver is having the time to like figure out what I'm doing. And then also being able to, you can cut where the sound stops. So that way you don't have to like push the button. I used to like run up and try to push the button in time and have to crop it. It was a mess. I didn't know what I was doing. And I know it sounds so basic, but it's simple things like that that'll save you time recording that you don't really know until you do it. The best advice that I have for anyone is just to start playing around with the app, start playing with different things and messing around and just see what you can find and what you can do because that's how you figure things out. A lot of the tricks that I found come from just all over the place. Like one of the things I found out was when the trend was going on for the positions from Ariana Grande, the one where you like flip and you keep going. I had spent all week filming that because I was getting in and out of different characters, like going through the motions. I had no idea that you could film different chunks. So you could film like the first part, the second part, the third part, the fourth part, right? All in different chunks. And then let's say you did Black Widow this day as the first one, and you want to have Gamora in it. Oh shoot, but you don't want to do Gamora until the end, but you're doing her tomorrow. So how are you going to get these other characters in there? Well, if you have the chunks already filmed and you get into your costume, you can go back to any of the clips and hit start over that one specific clip, and then you can film just that part. So you can actually like go in and do the thing. And I didn't know that. So here's me planning out my week in order of the thing that I needed to do, looking like an idiot. But yeah, there are different, just little things like that that'll save you so much time that I wish I had known when I started.
It's like that with every platform, I think. And TikTok has like for me, a pretty steep learning curve. It feels a little bit like After Effects versus like Instagram, which is maybe a little bit more like Photoshop, to give you a little bit of perception of like how I think about it. So you do have to have like some foundation. Like I think it helps if you know a little bit about social media and like how that stuff works. Like if you've done stories and you've created a few things here and there, or if you've done, maybe like a YouTube channel, something like that, that would give you a little bit more confidence to just go on the app and start messing around with it. I don't actually have it on my phone anymore because I got a new phone, so I got to get that hooked up and going. But I should probably go back and like finish my cosplays first, because that's a good place to start. It's
That
good
is a good first
if you
step.
want
That
to
is
be a
good first step.
cosplayer on TikTok.
Yeah.
Have cosplays ready to go.
Yeah, I've learned that most of the community can be pretty forgiving though. And it's nice. It is nice. You have a couple, it's always like people who don't cosplay that are like gatekeepy, they're like, oh, you have the wrong hair. It's like, whatever. But for the most part, everybody's really, really nice. And it's a really great place to be. The other piece of advice I would give to anybody who's starting, and if you're struggling with views or you're struggling with ideas, look at the trending sounds. And not even just the trending sounds. It's usually if you're scrolling on your For You page and you see or hear the same audio come up at least 2 or 3 times within the few pieces that you're scrolling, usually that means that there's a trend going on, not necessarily amongst those trending audios, but amongst like the community. So there's like certain little things, like little jokes that might be like recirculating like as audio. And the best thing that you can do is take that and think, how can I make this original and make it into a joke? Obviously fitting your niche, right? You don't want to do something off the wall and then blow up for it and then nobody watches your content because your content is nothing like what you blew up for. That's a common problem I've heard, apparently. Didn't know that, but that is a common problem I've heard of. So the best thing to do is to find, if you see that happening, catch it and save it for later if you can, and then come up with something. Because usually that's kind of the trick that I've done with some of the things I've posted. I try to vary what I do. So I'll try to go between dances, transitions, and acting, and try to just weed it out and see which one's going to be better that week. But that's a big tip. Another big tip is to look at your analytics. It'll tell you what time of day your followers are most active. So it'll tell you like, oh, on January 8th, they were most active around 4 p.m., right? And so usually I'll try to base when I'm posting around that. But it can be a little tough because you have to go back and look at the week prior. And if there's holidays involved, like today's the Super Bowl, so it's going to be off because you have to account for the fact that there's going to be differences in people's lives.
There's a lot of inconsistency. So when people get big on TikTok, sometimes they feel that should translate to other platforms, and it does not. And it's fairly apparent that it does not. You can have 1 million followers on one platform, and you can try and go on YouTube, and you end up not growing the same way because the algorithms are very different. It's the same with Instagram or Vero or any of those platforms, and trying to like bring people over from one place to the next can get lost in translation. That's a lot of the people who are on one aren't necessarily on the other. It's always like big differences in footprints. So please don't be discouraged if you are on one platform and then trying to break onto another one, or if you found that maybe you're not as comfortable on one or the other, that it's really just, it's going to be different every time. Yeah, you start at zero just like everybody else does when they get onto a platform, but it's supposed to be fun. So make sure that you're having fun wherever you go, whatever you're doing, especially if it's cosplay, because cosplay is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be for everybody. And it's not just about, gaming the traffic and gaming the likes. Paying attention to the analytics is important if you are getting a little bit frustrated with things and you want to see where you're going, not 100% the only thing. But it is definitely a good idea to pay attention to where you are. Same thing with YouTube. And, I do watch the analytics to see what people are doing. And that can make a difference with who you reach and where your video ends up. It's the algorithm, of course, they always change.
But yeah, I always feel like I don't really deserve what I have, I guess. I don't know. But at the same time, I do spend most days like all day long. If I am doing it, I'll get up and I'll get ready, and then I spend a good chunk of the day filming stuff. And some of the stuff never sees the light of day. Some of it's just for practice because I need it. And you know, like coming in a bit late to a platform is a bit tough when you have like huge people on the platform who just have been doing it for so long. Like there are people, and this part's a bit crazy too. I never thought about this, you know, like I guess I don't want to say I never took myself seriously because I did, but I guess content creation kind of became way more serious after I did TikTok or started doing TikTok, because I looked up to some of these creators for a while, especially starting because I didn't know what I was doing. So I would watch people like Tommy Knight or Taya Miller, or I'm gonna say her name wrong on TikTok, but it's Halsey Bella. I'm gonna say it wrong. I'm sorry. The little at. But yeah, like people like that to learn how to do transitions, how to do dances, how do people do these things? What is your secret? How do you do this magic? And then it started like that, where I would watch them and I would learn from them, and then flash forward, you know, like I'm in the shower and I get a notification that Taya Miller just followed me and commented on my videos, and it's like, oh, and I always feel, I know it's not a big deal. Well, it's a big deal to me, but it's one of those things where it's like, oh, my favorite creators are following me now and watching what I do. I don't want to disappoint them or anyone. Like when Tommy Knight started looking at my stuff, I love her. We talk now. She's great. I would consider her a friend. She's amazing. But I remember giggling to my friend because I was like, I have to delete everything. I have to start over. This is an embarrassment. I'm like, don't look at what I'm doing. Especially when Soups and I started talking and interacting too. And, you know, I was like, I love you people and your content, and I feel like a little flea on this app because I don't know what I'm doing. And I always joke about it. It's just my personality, but it's definitely a little intimidating. And I know they don't mean it to be. It's just me personally. I want to be as good as I can be. And to see people like that, I'm like, shoot, I got to step it up because I feel like I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, no, they're great. And a lot of people on the platform are really, really kind. You have your exceptions, of course, but that's true of anything. And you just kind of have to find your people. And it's really crazy. Very grateful for everything that I have on there. I still don't know what I'm doing. I always think that's funny because people ask me, they'll be like, how do you do what you do? How did you get to that point? And I'm like, I started November 28th of last year, and I still don't know how this app works. So.
We do talk about scaling and leveling, everybody, but remember that Heroes of Cosplay Sanctuary is, of course, and still and will always be a safe place to share tips, stories, tricks, and the fandoms that make everything possible. All of this content and wonderful things that we share onto spaces like TikTok, which really it's a really cool place to be right now if you are in cosplay and this is something that you are looking not just to join in on some of the fun, but also the community that's there. Again, there's a lot of nice people to talk to, especially now that we're a bit more distance and we still don't really have cons to go to. But that is really where I want to end the show. Astroboy, would you like to take us out and give us your how to find you and follow you?
Sure. So thank you all so much for watching. It means obviously the world to me every time somebody watches these things. I'm sure it means a lot to Scotty as well. But as always, you can find me on my Instagram or my TikTok, like we just talked about. It's Astrovoid Cosplay. It's always the same across every platform. And if you find one, you can find them all because I have my link tree, so you can go to all those little thingies. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Again, just remember, please, if you enjoyed this, to give us a like and maybe a comment, subscribe if you would feel so inclined. I don't want to be annoying about that, but it would be great. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm very excited for more episodes and the upcoming interviews that we have. And yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yes, and we will see you in the next video, everybody. Bye-bye.